When astronomers first catalogued 3ie Atlas in July 2025, the world barely noticed. After all, it was just another interstellar traveler, another piece of cosmic debris wandering through the vast emptiness between the stars. It was only the third object of its kind ever observed, but by all appearances, it seemed to be nothing more than a silent visitor passing through the solar system on a one-way journey. Then the James Webb Space Telescope, arguably the most powerful eye humanity has ever turned toward the cosmos, focused its instruments on the object. What it observed changed everything. This was not simply an icy rock being warmed by the sun deep inside 3ie Atlas. Something appeared to be glowing, not randomly or chaotically, but rhythmically, like a pulse, like a heartbeat. As the days passed, what first seemed like a curious anomaly evolved into something far more unsettling. The object's brightness increased far beyond predictions. It began emitting thermal energy from its interior rather than from its sunlit surface. Then came the radio signals, repeating with astonishing precision. Finally, astronomers noticed something even more extraordinary. The object changed its course. It no longer appeared to be following a passive trajectory. Instead, it behaved as if it had purpose, perhaps even awareness. Something seemed to be inside 3ie Atlas, and the James Webb Space Telescope appeared to suggest it might even be alive. At first, the object looked like nothing more than a statistical outlier, a slightly brighter point among countless others in Webb's infrared observations. But as scientists carefully reviewed data from the NIR-SPEC instrument, one anomaly refused to dissipate. 3ie Atlas behaved unlike any other object ever observed. Normally, interstellar visitors brighten and dim unpredictably as they rotate, eject material, or reflect sunlight unevenly from icy surfaces. 3ie Atlas did none of those things. Instead, its brightness remained eerily constant. Even more remarkable, the object emitted a concentrated glow directly from its core, resembling a miniature furnace pulsing at perfectly regular intervals. Every 4 hours, the heat intensified and then faded in an exact repeating cycle, almost like a biological rhythm. The pattern was far too precise to be explained by geology. It did not match the object's rotation, the influence of the solar wind, or any known natural process. The heat originated deep within the object and remained completely unaffected by changing sunlight or its distance from the sun. Scientists officially described the phenomenon as a thermal anomaly. Off the record, however, some researchers whispered another word: heartbeat. The pulse was slow, deliberate, and mechanical. It resembled not the radiation of a star but the steady breathing of an engine operating in deep space. Something inside the object appeared to be generating energy entirely independent of external forces. That realization led to one disturbing question: what kind of object can power itself in the darkness between the stars? As the thermal evidence became impossible to ignore, radio astronomers joined the investigation. Observatories around the world, from South Africa to California, turned their receivers toward 3ie Atlas. For several days, nothing unusual appeared. Then came the breakthrough. The Allen telescope array detected a faint, narrowband radio signal repeating every 4 hours, perfectly synchronized with the thermal pulses observed by the James Webb Space Telescope. At first, scientists remained skeptical. Perhaps it was interference, random noise, or an instrumental artifact. But as hours turned into days and days into weeks, the signal refused to dissipate. It remained steady, incredibly precise, and remarkably persistent. Even more surprising, the pulse showed tiny variations that appeared to track changes in the solar wind. Independent observatories confirmed the same pattern, eliminating the possibility of equipment failure or human-made interference. The mathematical structure of the signal made the mystery even deeper. Fourier analysis revealed a remarkably stable carrier wave unlike anything known to occur naturally in space. It almost seemed as though something aboard 3ie Atlas was not merely active but attempting to broadcast. Researchers compared the signal against pulsars, neutron stars, and the cosmic microwave background, yet every comparison failed. No known natural explanation remained. As a final experiment, scientists transmitted a simple mathematical message toward the object. The signal consisted of prime numbers, elements from the periodic table, and fundamental mathematical constants. 72 hours later, a reply appeared. It was weak, distorted, and barely detectable, but it arrived precisely on schedule. Something had received the transmission, and something had answered. Then, on August 18th, everything changed once again. Webb's continuous observations recorded a sudden flare from 3ie Atlas, an enormous surge of energy that increased the object's brightness by more than 40% in less than an hour. No known comet behaves this way, not even during violent eruptions of gas or dust. Yet an even greater surprise followed. A recalculation of the object trajectory revealed a subtle but undeniable course correction. 3ie Atlas was no longer simply drifting through space. It appeared to be steering. The new trajectory moved the object closer to the ecliptic plane of the solar system, aligning it more precisely with the inner planets. Orbital modelers at the European Space Agency, led by Marco Michelli, reran their simulations repeatedly, attempting to explain the maneuver through outgassing or other known physical processes. The mathematics simply would not support that conclusion. The amount of thrust required far exceeded anything natural jets could produce. More striking still, the sudden flare and the trajectory change occurred at exactly the same time, suggesting that one event had triggered the other.